Dynamic Closures is a leading international manufacturer and supplier of cutting-edge solutions for entrances and areas requiring enclosed security. Dynamic is recognised for its outstanding quality and service and for bringing leading innovative options to the marketplace worldwide. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the main installation procedures for side-folding closures and covers both the essential elements and field-proven methods for installing these doors. They are recommended by product design engineers, specifiers and experienced installers worldwide. Using this presentation as a guide, you'll be assured of eliminating potential unwanted confusion and produce a more stress-free quality result, not to mention enjoying the satisfaction of customers appreciating your professionalism. This video will show a variety of sites so you can appreciate different types of installations. Many unique and optional applications not covered in this video can be found throughout our product literature, and you can also rely on technical support and practical advice by calling our 1-800 number at any time. So, to begin any installation, know that all components required are located in numbered boxes. The box containing the track and installation components will be clearly marked. This will have a bag with all the fastening hardware and a shop drawing that identifies the customer, location, model, type and finish of the closure, plus other important guides such as height measurements and overall width of the installation. Use it to reference and verify your installation decisions as you go. Check the contents of the bag to make sure you'll have all the necessary hardware. The remaining numbered boxes contain the folding curtain sections. It is essential before starting to check the location and integrity of the bulkhead support structure to ensure its capacity to hold the weight of the closure. See the Dynamic brochure for more specific information regarding this. Measure the door opening before you start and cross-check with the shop drawing. If all is okay, the next thing you will install is the track. But before we do, let's take a few moments to show you some tips on how to mark out for a new track installation. This track support shows a typical 90 by 45 mm wooden support to screw the track into. On installations that require a curved track, always establish the position of the curve first, making sure that the proper clearance is achieved. To determine the position of the track, establish a measurement from the outside edge to the centre line of the track. Then at the other end of the opening, establish a mark of the same dimension from the same edge. Using two people, set the chalk line in place to establish the track centre line on the bulkhead and snap the line. As mentioned, if there's a curved track, install this first. The right angle, or 90-degree track, is the most commonly used curve, but Dynamic also provides standard curves at 120, 135 and 150 degrees, although we also custom fit for special applications. Always remember to trim out the corner of the track support to pick up fixing on the curves. Refer to the Dynamic brochure for a more detailed explanation. The stacking track will normally run through the centre of the pocket space. It is therefore important to check the clearance on either side of the track. The clearance will depend on which model you are installing. Make sure obstacles hanging from ceilings, such as sprinkler heads, are the required distance from the centre of the track. Before any section of the track is installed, be certain to remove any burrs from the cut ends. This pertains to all track sections, straight or curved. On the end of each section you will notice two connecting pins at the bottom of the cross-section. There is also a slot at the top for an alignment bar. This alignment bar should be filed round on all corners to allow for smoother movement when centering between two sections of track. The next track section should be positioned along the centre line and tapped gently until the pins align and form a nice tight fit. Once the track has been fastened using all the pre-drilled holes, then using the track bar or a 5/16 slot screwdriver, Tap the alignment bar with the rounded corners gently to centre between the newly joined track sections. Also tap the two track pins into the centre between the two track sections. This is very important because this is the only way to ensure that the track stays solidly in alignment at the connecting points once the folding curtain sections are in use. Make certain that the join in the rolled split pin is turned 180 degrees from the opening in the extrusion it fits into to avoid problems with the split pin spreading apart while securing it. Next, you will repeat this procedure until you come to the very last track section. But first, let's look at the placement of the service track section, which is required in case the door ever needs to be dropped down for service. Before you do this, however, be sure to thoroughly clean out the track. This section is placed close to one end of the opening and should be a shorter length of track. Make sure you allow enough for loading of one section at a time. The last section of track requires an exact measurement and an on-site precision cut to fit it exactly to the wall. Now let's finish mounting the track in the pocket at the end that will hold the stack. This section of track has to be drilled to accommodate a permanent screw that will act as an end stop and will be at the back wall of the pocket, preventing the stack slipping off the otherwise open end of the track. The track is now complete and ready to load the sections of curtain. Position the grill so that the bottom end is centred to the above track and is sitting on a piece of corrugated cardboard or similar. It may take two people to correctly position and stand the section up, then cut the straps and remove the protective packaging. Load the section into the track. A common installation is one that contains top and bottom locking posts. Other installations may require wall channels for lead posts to fit into. We'll cover this later in the video. A full description of design and function of every post is available in our literature. Once every section runs smoothly, install the last piece of track, which will be the service section. With all sections in place, the next step is to lock together any buy parts. The remaining sections are then quick connected in the following manner. Bring the adjoining sections together. Align each section to fit flatly into the grooves. Tap the sections into place firmly all the way along. These screw holes must align properly, so at the bottom of the quick connects, using a little leverage and upright pressure, align the holes and fasten the screws into each hole. Once all sections are connected, spread the entire grill to the finished position. At one end, mark the position of the top chute bolt pin by hitting the top chute bolt into the top of the track. Drill a 10mm hole. You can then check to see if the top lock fits into the hole properly. Establish plumb and mark the position of the bottom hole. This will be drilled with a 20mm core bit. You will need a template with a 20mm pre-drilled hole in it. Place it over the marked hole. Drill with the core bit, remembering to use plenty of water. Once the tile has been drilled, change the core drill bit for a 20mm masonry drill bit. Once down the required depth, change back to the core bit and run the core bit right through to clean the hole up. Also, clean up excess moisture and dirt left from the drilling. Insert the floor socket and test for proper fit, and then repeat this procedure at the other end. Once both ends are locked top and bottom, stretch out the curtain evenly across the opening so you can mark the positions of the intermediate post locks. Drill the holes and insert the floor sockets at every intermediate post position. There are also times when an end post will need to lock into a wall channel. For this type of installation, place the channel centered to the bottom of the ceiling track. Make sure it is plumb and that the locking holes line up with the hook bolt lock. Scribe a pencil line to act as a guide. Fasten the channel to the wall with screws. The final task of any installation is to adjust the chute bolts. This is done by checking that each chute bolt travels into the floor socket the required distance, approximately 25mm. If any of the chute bolts do not travel the required 25mm, Or if they are wound down too far and so prevent the bolt locking into place as it hits the bottom of the floor socket, you will need to adjust the chute bolt. This is done by first loosening off the grub screw using a 1/8 Allen key. The grub screw is located in the locking glide. You can then wind the chute bolt up or down as required. Once the adjustment is completed and you've checked that the bolt is locking correctly, retighten the grub screw. This is important, or the bolt will gradually wind down, preventing the chute bolt from locking. This will need to be repeated for every chute bolt along the door. And finally, check that the handle bolts are tight. You have just learned the basics of side-folding grille installations. The Dynasty range is installed using most of the same criteria with one or two differences. The 9400 is different from the 91 and 9200 series. With the 9400, the track is installed exactly the same as previously shown, although the track itself has a slightly different profile. First, check that the daylight opening is square and the measurements correspond with the door size on the dynamic shop drawing. It is crucial that these measurements match precisely. In the unlikely event that they do not, contact your dynamic product supplier before continuing. After the track is installed as previously shown, load the panels into the track, making sure that you have approximately 5 mm clearance from the underside of the track. First, hinge the two end panels together using the pilot holes provided. Tape the front of the two panels together. Then plumb the panels and mark the holes of the hinges on the post or wall. Drill the holes and fix the panels to the post or wall. If the post is steel, use 4.8 mm pop rivets as being shown here. Keep in mind that clearance to the floor under the panels can be adjusted slightly up or down once the door is hanging. Hinge the remaining panels together. Close the door and mark the positions of the chute bolts on the floor for drilling of the floor sockets as shown previously, remembering to use a 22 mm drill bit for all Dynasty doors. The 91 and 9200 Dynasty series have a dual track system. For the 9100 series, install the front track at the pocket end, or ends if there are two pockets, then measure out and mark your track centres from the front track. With the 9200 series, determine the position of the front track, fix the front curve in line with the front track, and then measure the track centres. Next, fit the inside curve and install the rest of the straight track. Then lock the door following the procedure as previously shown. There are many more variations and custom considerations that you will find in the field. Some are covered in our brochures. Learn to rely on and become familiar with all instructional material available. Remember, if in doubt about an installation procedure, please feel free to call our 1-800 number for personal help and advice. At Dynamic Closures, our focus is on quality results that mean providing our installation people with the best products, systems and support. So, welcome to the Dynamic team.